everything that's new about the Galaxy S26 Ultra. I wanted to go in depth with this and talk about it with you guys because I think there's actually some nice upgrades that we've been seeing so far with the device. So you can see all check marks next to this, and a lot of this stuff looks really, really good. First of all, Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5. That's right. There's jumping a bunch of steps in there. We're at the 8 Elite, 8 Elite 2. They're going right to the 8 Elite Gen 5. And we're probably, I don't know if there's been complete benchmarks out there, but it should be very similar benchmarks to what we saw previously, meaning the jump. It's going to be a good jump. Probably 35 to 45% improvements in GPU and CPU performance. Good for gaming, good for daily tasks of anything that you do, good for editing your photos and your videos, making those things faster, less wait time overall. But most of all, if you're a gamer, this is wonderful news. This stuff is going to get better and better and better and better. And eventually we will see real AAA titles on the system, just like iPhone and iPad are seeing on their side. That will trickle over to Android. It's not like Android could definitely handle it with these processors already because they compete and beat the iPhone processor already in a lot of regards. It's just a matter of time for those developers to come over to the dark side. Next up, built-in S Pen, no Bluetooth, which they didn't have it in the current version of the S25 Ultra. They're not going to have it in the S26 Ultra either. So ultimately, when you see something like that, happy that it has S Pen support, happy that it's built into there. Unfortunately, no Bluetooth support. There's high probability, based off rumors we've been hearing, the S27 or 28 Ultra will not even have a built-in S Pen. So hug that S Pen as hard as you can because you might not get it in the generation after this. Upgraded cameras with wider aperture. So basically, you're going to get better low light performance on the cameras in general. Maybe not every single camera on there, but a few of the cameras at least will have better low light support for photos, videos, all of that, which is a good, nice upgrade overall. People complain sometimes about the Android side, especially on Samsung, saying, hey, low light support of cameras, photos, and videos isn't that good. This will help with that. So it's all good news. Qi 2 MagSafe, so built-in magnets on the back of the phone. You won't have to use a case to do it. It'll be built right into the phone. So if you like to go caseless, you won't have to worry about it. You'll have a built-in magnet on there for fast wireless charging, for MagSafe grips, such as a snap or a pop socket or something along those lines. That will be built into the phone now, just like it is with the Pixel, and it has been with the iPhones for a really, really long time. Faster wired charging is finally coming to the S26 Ultra. 60 watt fast charging, up from 45 watt. And then a phone like this, the Galaxy Z Fold 7, still on 25 watt. So you should see some really nice fast charging upgrades overall with the 26 Ultra. This might be one of my favorite upgrades about it because the battery is most likely staying the same size at 5,000 milliamps, and getting faster charging is awesome. Really, really nice upgrade there. It's getting thinner, 7.8 millimeters thin. They've been doing thinner on all their phones. All their devices are getting thinner. S26 Ultra, no different. I think it's a nice thing. It's going to be a better use case to hold it overall. And speaking of holding it, yeah, I'm not talking about that, what you're thinking I'm holding. But what you can hold better now is the S26 Ultra, more comfortable to hold with a rounded frame. It's more rounded than previous generations. I think it looks a little bit more modern, a little bit more playful, maybe not as serious as it has in the past, not as square. And I think overall, I think the masses of people will appreciate that in general. There's obviously going to be more things that come out about this phone, have it be software tweaks and improvements, have it be more hardware. I think we will see more hardware things come out soon that indicate, hey, this has been improved. This is better. This has been upgraded. most likely will see that. We'll also see some things that are not being upgraded and a lot of weight being put onto that maybe like you look at it as a downgrade. And then also software wise, I think we'll see some stuff that hasn't been announced because of the fact that the rumor is that the Z Fold and Flip lines will get the major number upgrade, but the S line will get that 0.5 upgrade for the software, like 8.5 One UI. And that will be bringing with it a lot of feature-wise, bigger features added into it. So I'm looking forward to the 26 Ultra. You know, it's changed a little bit the way it looks, but it hasn't changed all that much in terms of the way it looks. But better processor, upgraded cameras for better low light, Qi 2 MagSafe built into there, the faster wired charging, thinner and more comfortable with a rounded frame. So far, looking good on my eyes, honestly. I wanted to go through this because with this, Ice Universe has been working hard and heavy with the new renders of the Galaxy S26 Ultra. We even get our first look at how it looks against the iPhone 16 Pro Max. And it's interesting because as much as I thought those two phones looked alike, they actually don't. So let's first look at this right here where he's talking about this, and he's saying that the new he's using a new graphics tool that he spent hours making repeated adjustments just to create this set of S26 Ultra renderings based on accurate CAD data with precise R angles and bezels. And I really think this phone looks awesome. Like, I think it looks really, really good. It definitely is more rounded than before, but it's just, there's something about it that I really, really like. I mean, when we've seen it against, a couple days ago, we saw it against the S25 Ultra, and I'm digging the new design. I don't know what more to say than that, but I am truly liking it a lot. He also says that the S26 Ultra renderings based on official data are still very nice. And I like, you know, what he does with these renderings. He's one of the few people on there that really makes these things, especially the wallpaper. His wallpapers always look really, really cool on here. Really professional stuff. And this is what I really wanted to show you is the iPhone 17 Pro Max versus the S26 Ultra. These are obviously renderings of what these phones are going to look like. And when you do look at it though, they don't really look all that similar. You can see the iPhone has like a thinner display overall, and then obviously the huge mark at the top for the camera and the Face ID and all that stuff, whereas the S26 Ultra still only has that little tiny pinhole and has like a flatter, wider looking display to me. Now they are both rounded, but the iPhone is definitely more rounded out of the two of these devices. When I look at these though, personally, and you can call me a fanboy all you want, I actually think the S26 Ultra looks better. What I like about it is obviously the pinhole camera. I love that. It's not as big as the bar they have at the top there for the iPhone, but then it just seems like you're getting more screen real estate. It seems like it's going to fit stuff better. It feels like it's going to look better overall as well with all of the display that you got on there. But yeah, I just really thought these were going to look a lot more alike than they do. They really look completely different. I personally don't think, you know, even minus out the camera bar and the pinhole, like just forget that. They don't look like the same phone at all, really at all, which is cool because I think that for me, I'm not worried about it, but there's always a backlash when phone companies copy other phone companies, especially when it's Apple and Samsung or Samsung and Apple, and they copy each other for whatever reason. But this is, I don't think you can say at this point that those phones look much alike. We've got some news about the Galaxy S26 line versus the new iPhone 17s that were just announced, and some of it is not so great for the Samsung side, and I wanted to go through that with you guys because I think it's very telling of where the future of Samsung hopefully is going to change in some ways and then maybe stay the same in others. So let's talk about this. You can see from this one right here, Apple has released the iPhone 17 series. And also I told you the charging power of the 26 Pro and 26 Edge, which is 25 watts. Let me start with the conclusion. Samsung is very dangerous, saying that the 26 Pro and 26 Edge only support 25-watt charging, while the full range, aka all of the iPhone 17s, support 40-watt charging. So the charging speeds on the new iPhone are faster than what we're going to get with the S26. And people in the comments are asking, hey, they can still change that. No, they can't. He said they're basically at mass production at this point, and it's not going to happen. So iPhone 17s across the board this generation are going to take the cake for faster charging speeds versus the S26, except for maybe the Ultra, and we're going to talk about that in just a moment here. The Ultra, if you wanted to know, is also having some issue, or if you want to look at it like that. Basically, he says that he's afraid to tell us. I'm worried that you're going to be angry. How could we be angry with you? Samsung's Galaxy S26 Ultra new 3x sensor is actually degraded or downgraded with only 10 megapixels. It is smaller than the current S25 Ultra. Therefore, it is true that I propose that the Samsung cameras leaders step down, not just talking about it. What they have done is really too much. And someone brings up a good point, saying that, hey, isn't it that they're going to be using a 12 megapixel sensor? And he goes on to say that, yes, that is true, but they're only using 10 megapixels from it. Now, are we going to see a huge loss in quality, or any loss of quality, or is it going to be improvement? I would be guessing that it's either going to look very similar to the photos that we're getting now with that telephoto, and not so different, have it be much better or much worse. We'll have to test it when it comes out. I think this is being a little bit overblown. Even if it was 12 megapixels, is it going to be that big of a difference? Probably not, but still something for us to piss and moan about. That is for damn sure. He also says that the iPhone 17 Pro series features a brighter display with an anti-reflecting coat, if that sounds familiar at all, as the S26 Ultra, offering up to 1000 nits manual brightness and a peak brightness of 3000 nits. It comes with a 40-watt dynamic power adapter supporting up to 60 watts fast charging, capable of reaching 50% charge in just 20 minutes. With the addition of a more practical 4x telephoto lens, it seems that the S26 Ultra has some serious competition. Now, he doesn't mention what the brightness is on the 26 Ultra or what it will be. Maybe it'll be 3000 nits as well. Previously, it was 2600 nits. So right now, if it doesn't change, iPhone's going to beat it. iPhone is also capable of going up to 60-watt charging, just like the 26 Ultra is meeting that, and also charging in 20 minutes to 50%, which is amazing. With the addition of a more practical 4x telephoto lens, which is 3x on the S26 Ultra. So it looks like the iPhone Pro and Pro Max are definitely, just on a hardware level, going to give the iPhone, or give the Galaxy line, a total run for its money, and potentially even beat it in some ways. The S26 line isn't even going to be out until January or February. Man, what are we looking at here? Are we looking at not a lot of upgrade comparatively to the iPhone? Is it putting in line in a lot of ways with the iPhone? Because if you remember the past, the Galaxy phones, spec-wise, were almost always a lot better. Like the megapixels were a lot higher, and they still are. The charging speeds were always a lot faster. The cameras in general just had a lot higher megapixels and all that and everything. And not to say they were always better than the iPhone, but just on a hardware spec level, they always were. And it doesn't seem like we're getting that much anymore. What are your thoughts on this? How do you feel? For me, it's more like Android is just, for me, a superior operating system. And what Samsung does with the software and the AI is definitely a step ahead of what Apple does in a lot of ways, and what other manufacturers of Android do as well. And that's what you live in and breathe in. And the hardware is still really great on Samsung. So I'm not that worried about it, but I always like to see the companies that I am fans of and that I put my money into to really push the envelope hardware-wise. Because at this point in my life, I can afford to get the best that a company has to offer And I generally do. And is Samsung giving us the best they have to offer? That is a good question. Man, there's been a lot of up and down news about the Galaxy S26 Ultra, the 26 line in general. There was rumors that it was going to have 60-watt charging. Now we're hearing that it might be 45 watts still, but it's going to be like boosted to 60 watts. There's talks about the camera not being as updated as we had hoped for, and that it's just more of the same in a lot of ways, especially on the telephoto lens. So we'll let this kind of percolate and develop as time goes on. But a little bit of good information coming out about this is that the display, S26 Ultra's screen, will have surprises. Hopefully this is good. And some of the Samsung's core display technologies will be used in this product. And someone also said, hey, is the screen 6.99? I heard you said it's bigger, saying 6.89 inches. So let's kind of talk about what he potentially could mean by having this display be better, I guess you'd want to say. And what could that be? Is it going to be a Dolby display in there? Is it going to Dolby technology inside of the display? Is it going to be brighter? Because we really haven't heard a ton about the brightness. I don't think it's going to be brighter than the iPhone, based off of what Ice Universe had said in a previous quote, where he's like, hey, iPhone's going to be 3,000 nits. I would guess if the Galaxy phone does get brighter, it would be 3,000 nits. The current generation is 2,600 nits, which 26 to 3,000, I don't think you'll notice much of a difference really between that. Is it going to have some kind of screen technology that we haven't seen? Is there going to be, some kind of dimming solution put into this that we haven't seen or used on other Galaxy displays? He does this, and then like a day or two later, sometimes he'll be like, okay, this is what it has. Or people will just ask the right question at the right time and he'll answer it. We don't really know a lot about what it's going to have. Again, I see it the way he wrote it as a positive thing and not a negative thing, but the way he writes sometimes, Ice Universe, you could take it either way, and it's unfortunate because I wish he'd just be a little bit more direct with stuff sometimes, and instead of kind of beating around the bush or talking in code so it doesn't kind of make sense. And I know there's probably a little bit of a language barrier. I think Chinese is his first language and English isn't. So maybe sometimes he's not realizing what he's doing, or maybe he does. I don't know. But I think the 26 Ultra and the 26 line in general is going to get a lot more probably hate than maybe it deserves at times. I know I personally always want something new and like the best they have to offer. And sometimes, honestly, it doesn't feel like we get that with Samsung. I feel like we got that in a lot of ways with the Z Fold 7. But like this S line, I think it's time it needs a real big boost. We've had like the same type of megapixel camera on there. The display is fairly the same. The design's a little bit different this year. Charging speeds have been the same forever. Battery's been the same forever. Cameras in general, even outside of the 200 megapixels, more or less have been the same forever. A lot of it has just been the same forever. Like, what's holding them back from really pushing this to the next level in a lot of ways? Because seemingly, even though it has a few nice upgrades this year, it doesn't seem like it's going to be a massive upgrade. And it disappoints people, and I totally understand that. Is it enough are they giving us enough to where people are going to be like, that is enough for me, I haven't upgraded in 2 or 3 years? Or is it going to be like, hey, I haven't upgraded in 2 or 3 years and it doesn't look like I still need to? That would be the better question out of this, because I think year over year, maybe especially with the S line, you don't need to upgrade. But I mean, things could change, and more information could come and will come out, and opinions like mine and other people's could change as well, for the more positive or maybe more negative about it. So I just don't get it. I don't get it. I don't know why there is so much emphasis put on the crease for the Galaxy Z Fold 7, or really any Galaxy Z Fold for that matter. This has a crease, obviously, but I mean, you can see it when I angle it like this crazy angle. But if I just put it straight like this, when I look at it, it's how most people look at their phones, you don't see it. And there's so much emphasis put on the dang crease, and it bothers you guys so much. I'm not saying all of you, because the guys that have it are like, dude, it's not a big deal. But I see it so many times, especially with new people. Like I saw a post today, should I go from 17 Pro Max or should I go for the Z Fold 7? And he's like, I'm worried about the crease. I heard the crease gets worse over time. And I've made a video about that specific thing happening where some guy opened and closed it like, I don't know, 5,000 or 20,000 times. And he's like, look at this is the first picture. This is the second picture. And quote unquote, there's a bigger impulse look at that crease. But I mean, I look at mine and I look at an old video and I look at a video like the phone today. I don't personally notice any bigger indentation on the phone at all. And it should not bother you guys at all. Like zero. Why does it bother people so much? It does not make sense to me. When you're using the phone, I would say for me, 100% of the time, I literally never think about it. Maybe 99% of the time. The other part of the time, I don't even see it, regardless if I'm paying attention or not. I know like when I'm looking at it right now, I can see like I'm just kind of tilting it back and forth, kind of like this. I can kind of see it, but I'm never thinking in my head like, oh man, that looks terrible. It's so distracting. It takes away from the experience. The only thing you could probably say takes away from the experience on the main display is the camera cutout, which you can see that little black hole at the top of the screen there. But even then, for myself, it does not bother me whatsoever. Not at all, again. And the crease gets so much hate and talk and, ooh, I don't know if I could buy that phone because of the crease. Dude, are you serious? Are you freaking serious? A little indentation on the display that you'll never think about is going to bother you, but a big cutout on an iPhone at the top with a big square with a bad haircut at the top there, that doesn't bother you, or it doesn't make you think about it that as much as a crease that is almost always hidden on the screen when you're actually using it. Come on. It's insane. It bugs me. It's one of my few little things that bugs me about the Galaxy Z Fold 7 and people that are like either thinking about going to it or people that are just looking at it for the first time, or even people that have used it for like a week or in the store and they're like, oh my God, the crease, dude. Seriously? You will forget about it in a half a second and you don't even notice it, especially when you're using the phone. No one's going to be, even if I was tilting like this all day, I'm not going to be like, oh man, that thing's taken away from my experience. Not liking that, not at all. It's insane, super insane. So I saw this on Reddit and this is really, really cool stuff. This is a 3D printed wireless charging case for the Galaxy Z Fold 7. Now you do need MagSafe on it. So you're gonna have to have either a MagSafe ring on your phone or you're gonna need a case with MagSafe. And regardless though, this thing is awesome. And it has protection for if you have case with a hinge or without a hinge so that it fits that much better. Because when you have a hinge, it's slightly off-centered on there. Now check this thing out. You can actually buy this. Or if you want, you can actually, if you have a 3D printer, he gave it so you can just print it yourself. So that's how cool this freaking thing is. So look at this though. You can use this and it completely stands up on here. You can see you can see the case on the left right here with the MagSafe charging part of the charger. And you can also just stand it up. And I love that because to get the full experience while it's fully charging wirelessly is pretty cool. And I don't know, I personally haven't seen a charging case like this for the Galaxy lineup at all, the Fold lineup, I should say. So that's freaking really, really cool stuff. Here it is without the charger. Here it is with the charger. And even sells you a wireless charger if you want an Anchor wireless charger. I'll probably pick this up, but I'll use my Apple charger because I don't have a 3D printer. They've been out for a while. I just never have ended up getting one. Look how awesome this freaking thing is. It is so, so cool. I love this. And it stands up, holds your phone upright, completely wide open. So it's super helpful. Look at this thing. It is so nice. Let's hit the X on this. You can get it, it looks like in different colors as well. I don't know if does that change the price? It doesn't even change the price. That's pretty cool too. So you can get it in all of these different colors. So if you don't want it in black, you want it in blue or red or yellow or some other color, you can get it. And it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't look like it adds any part of increasing the price. Now, I said they have the regular dock version or the hinge case dock version. I would get the hinge case dock version because I have a hinge on here. And thing's awesome. Look at, you can even use this thing freaking standing up when it's closed. Closed, open, it all works on here. I think this is so cool. And it's only 20 bucks, guys. I mean, without the charger. If you get it with the charger, it's 33 bucks. But like, you're basically buying a stand for this. And this is so awesome. I love this. You can see, I love my Galaxy Z Fold 7, but I couldn't find a nice charging dock that will allow me to charge my phone in an unfolded state. So I made one. Update 1 at September 12th, which is a couple days ago. Stronger design for the regular dock. Hinge cover can now work with larger cases and works with the new D brand case and a stronger version. Variants, they got the regular dock for a phone without a case or a regular case, no hinge cover. And they have the hinge cover for a phone with a case that has a hinge cover. I can't guarantee the MagSafe Magicus will work with your case, but I'm doing something. I can make it work with multiple cases. Design is made in the US by me. I love this kind of ingenuity. That's the word, right? This is so cool. I'm going to link it down below if you want to pick it up. And honestly, looks like the best standing Galaxy Z Fold 7 case that you can get and still wirelessly charge for. I'm going to pick one up and see how it works, see how it rolls. I've been using the Banks case for a while at this point, so I'll see how this one ultimately works. But ultimately, yeah, this looks freaking awesome. Do you guys like this or not? Let me know in the comments down below. You're going to pick it up. Let me know that as well. We'll see you guys down the road.